What's up, guys? Welcome back for another knife installment. My Let's Talk Twosun Knives series, Volume 4, Part 1. Got another batch of 6 for you guys. Been really excited to do this video since some of these have just quickly become some of my favorites already. But yeah, let's get started. Don't want to take too long here. First one up is the TS306 by Mazwan Mohktar. And this knife is just freaking fantastic, guys. It's got a bit of a lighter detent. It is, a reverse flicker thumb hole. So you do kind of want to have a little bit of a lighter detent, and then with that flipper tab being a little bit smaller and kind of a sharper geometry, it does help that it's not too hard to deploy. But still nice solid detent. Reverse flick works beautifully. You don't want to stick too much of your middle finger in there because you can end up kind of getting caught like on the 305. Doesn't happen as prevalently since you can't get as much of your finger in there, but it is something to note. But still nice deployment. The detent angle on this one, nice and early. I believe that's because this one doesn't have a detent ramp. No, it doesn't. So yeah, again, something Mazwan always does when he doesn't do his detent ramps. Ergos, just beautifully done, fit up perfectly. Nothing feels weird, uncomfortable, or anything. And even though this handle's kind of like got a blockiness to it, since it's, thick, chunky titanium square, it's still really, really comfortable in the hand. I like how this concaves here, because on the right hand it kind of acts as like an anchoring point, especially with the carbon fiber. And then the left hand it kind of helps as a depression point for your hand to fit comfortably in. And then the rest of it, the way how it rounds here on both sides, it just helps to kind of mold into the hand comfortably. So great ergonomics. A little bit of thumb ramp here, just helps you lock in. Beautiful jimping, just so effectively grippy. Wonderfully done. Really, really like just the ergos, the geometry of the handle, the way everything fits up, and the profile and the design and everything. It's just really cohesive. Display design, absolutely love it. Got a nice stabby tip with plenty of belly. Add a little bit of a sharpening choil in there, which was a good choice because of the way that plunge grind is. But nice blade stock, distal taper. Nice high flat grind behind the edge, is nice and thin. Works very well. This one's an M398, which is a slightly improved, better version of M390. I think it has a little bit more like resistance, corrosion and wear resistance. One thing I will mention about this clip is it doesn't really fit the design too well of the knife. It's got a little bit of gapping here, and mine kind of needed to be pressed in, kind of with the screw tightened in. The tolerances were a bit tight, didn't want to fit in too well. So that was something I didn't really like to see there. And it being a little bit high, I understand why it's done, so that it fits better in the hand. But it's just something I don't like to see being left-handed, because it can kind of feel awkward for me sometimes, being way up here. And then I would have liked to have seen some of the lock bar covered, and some of the inserts visible. It would have helped just kind of the symmetricalness of the design. But overall, just a really, really sweet knife. Loving this one. Great action. Just an excellent, excellent knife. That's the TS304 or 306 Reaper by Mazwan Mohktar. Up next is this little guy, the TS174 by CM Designs. This knife is so freaking sweet, guys. I'm super in love with this little guy. This is my smallest Twosun to date, but this thing has big knife energy to the max. And I call this a little big knife, meaning it's a little big knife but still in a little package. It's just so well done. I carry this thing all the time, and if you don't have one of these, go get one immediately. It's so worth it. I paid like 76 bucks for this thing, not bad at all. This one was like $125. Again, got all these on White Mountain Knives, as I usually do. Use the 10% discount code. I'll put all that in the description. But just a wonderful design here by CM Designs. Colin, fantastic job. This little guy, just wonderful. He got a like 3-inch blade here, that Warncliffe sheep's foot, perfectly done. Nice tall flat grind for this blade, the end behind the edge. And the TS174, if I didn't mention, and D2. This micarta, this is the same micarta that they use on the 301, so it's that nice linen micarta. Mine is all dirty because, yeah, it gets all dirty kind of easily. My hands are always dirty, but I kind of like how it's grayed out and has that dirty look. It contrasts well with the stonewashed titanium frame. I think it ends up looking good, and I kind of like it overall. And then you have this side here as well. Acts as an over travel stop. It's kind of like a bolster lock style, except it's not a complete scale, it's just an inlay. Still really cool how they did that. It's an interesting design choice, different. But yeah, just the milling, all the little milling, the little lines here, everything. It's got a nice cohesive look. Really, really like this thumb stud. It works beautifully. The knurling on it, you get such a great grip on the top of it. A lot of thumb studs, you're not able to like use the top. It's more so getting it from the side or the bottom. And this is one of those ones where you gotta come from the bottom, which is my favorite way to deploy a thumb stud. But if you're more of a fan of coming from the side, you can use the top of it, so that does work so beautifully. And like I said, not a lot of thumb studs, you know, you can do that. But on this one, it's so easy. You're able to get a wonderful purchase and then just flick it out. So the thumb stud on here, wonderfully, wonderfully done. It's so close to the frame though. I know some people like to be able to like get in there on the side, but like I said, I don't mind. You get plenty of room coming under it. So very easy to deploy. Nice lock bar access, works easily to get to, great lockup. And you got that centering groove for the backspacer, which I think is great. Let's add a little design element to it. Great action, very smooth for such a little blade too. And then you can change your thumb stud out if you need to. Nice little front flipper here, excellent, works beautifully. The front flipper here just works so easily. I like the jimping, how it comes all the way around. You can catch it from all the way up here and just flip it out. So very effective front flipper. The jimping's not the best, but it works better for front flipping action than actually using it for, like, you know, to cut. You don't get as much of a grip unless you like push in deeply, since it's a bit flush. But not too bad. I do like the full backspacer. Obviously that's a great thing since you won't touch the blade. And then I do like how just the back of the handle is just nice and straight. Excellent working clip. Works great, good tension. Just a wonderfully, wonderfully done knife. But yeah, like I said, it is a small one. It is my smallest Twosun. Yet I could still get a full 4-finger purchase. And if this is not good enough for you, like if it's a little too small here, because you might come off the side here, you can choke up here. And that's equally comfortable. That's actually more comfortable, but yeah, just excellent. If you have a large hand, you can still get a full 4-finger grip. And then, again, beautiful action. But that's the TS174. That open top construction. I think it gives it another design element that's interesting. And got your ramp as well. But yeah, just a great knife. I would highly recommend getting one of these. After that, got the TS190 Cobra. Oh man, I've been looking to get this knife for so long, and I am definitely not disappointed. This is a wonderful, wonderful knife. Lives up to the hype so much. Absolutely freaking love it. It was the best $90 I've spent so long. And yeah, 90 bucks for what you're getting here is just ridiculously good. Beautiful full titanium construction. Love the milling. And I like how it's kind of got this like full bolster style where they changed up the milling to like soften it here. Love the scallopings on the side and just all the contouring. Really nicely machined. Pocket clip. Again, pocket clip works beautifully. Great tension in a good spot. Got your lanyard hole. Just a little back spacer. But just a really wonderfully designed and produced knife. The frame here acts as the over travel stop. Something Night Morning has done before. And then that Persian style blade shape. I know it's not everybody's favorite. Kind of divided on the Persians. You either love it or you don't. And I absolutely love it. This blade shape is just fantastic. Got kind of like a upswept trailing point, bit of a recurve here, and then all of that belly just sweeps so quickly, and it's a fantastic Persian style in my opinion. Very nice plunge grind here too. Got some life in that blade. Excellently done. And the D10 on this one just beautiful. I mean, you could just hear it. Perfectly centered. The flipper here, nice and grippy. Great flipper size and geometry. But yeah, just listen to that D10. Rock solid. Wonderfully done. Very simple, elegant, beautiful. That's just how this knife comes off to me, and even though it doesn't have any jimping, I don't mind that because I think it not having any jimping fits the design aesthetic overall. And with the ergos being as perfect as they are, the way this handle is just so comfortable, and how this scalloping here kind of helps with the ergos for the fingers here, whether right or left. It acts like just like a molding, like it molds to the hand. I don't know how to describe it any better, but everything just locks up where it needs to be. You're not up against the flipper tab here, but you don't feel like you need to be on most knives. You feel like you do, but on this one, where you're at here is exactly where you need to be. And again, with even not having any jimping, does not matter. You're locked in, you're ready to go, and this thing's ready to handle business. Again, beautiful drop shot action, nice and smooth. Perfectly done here. For 90 bucks, like I said, I mean, it goes for 100, but I got the $10 off. How can you do any better? How can you ask for any more? Wonderful, wonderful design by Night Morning. TS190 and M390. Yeah, just fantastic. Highly, highly recommend. There's the D10 angle. You pass it by the time the flipper tab hits your finger. And you're good to go. That's the TS190. Up next, this one, a little unfortunate here, and we'll get into that. This is a TS344. If you haven't already bought this one, then obviously you won't know the problems it has, but if you do, then you'll know. It's a great looking design. This is by Mazwan Mohktar, but you might have heard it right now. It's got really bad D10 lash, unfortunately. That thing moves about 1/8 of an inch, and that's not good. Paid $100 for this one, so a little unfortunate money-wise, but not, something I'm gonna cry about. I could have sent it back, but I didn't. I decided to keep it. And yeah, it's not that I got a lemon. It seems like this is something across the board when it comes to this knife in general. I've seen it with everybody who has either talked about this knife for the most part, or any reviews or whatever. I know Neves has got one of these in, and his was the same. It had that horrible D10 lash, and his actually had a really bad action because of the scratchiness of the belt satin that they did. which I think is cool. This is the first time they did a belt satin, especially with that high hollow grind. It's beautifully done. It's just they kept this area on the pivot area all, you know, belt satin too, instead of smoothing it out. So the action on some of them are not quite smooth. On mine, it's nice and smooth. For some reason, it ended up coming out beautifully. But that ends up kind of like being a problem for this knife because of that detent lash. It kind of just makes it feel more clunkier and looser. And you know, when something feels clunky and loose, it feels cheap. So it kind of gives it that like illusion that this knife feels cheap. And yeah, it's unfortunate. But still a beautifully, you know, made knife overall. The G10, the carbon fiber, everything is beautifully done. Backspacer, all that, the clip. It's all really nice produced, and you know, it's made well except for that detent. The detent is just, it's not right. There's something off. And it doesn't seem like the hole is too big or anything, but I don't know what it is. It's just either the placement is off or the way they milled this track at the end might be off. Just something is off about this knife. And it's not just with mine, it's with every single one of these. So I would definitely wait on this model. Don't get it until they work out the kinks. And once they do, I would say definitely go for it, because it is a beautifully made, you know, knife aesthetically. Looks good. The ergos are just wonderful. This knife fits up beautifully in the hand. I love the way the blade kind of comes up here. It's got an interesting blade shape. Kind of looks like the Tempest pinion or whatever it's called. Kind of similar style. I think this might have came out first though, so I don't know. But really nice, just ergonomically. You can even hold it down here and it doesn't feel too awkward, like you're too far back or anything. That high hollow grind, really cool, great blade shape. Super early on the detent, again, because no detent ramp. This one's using double row ceramic bearings, so it is super smooth, but like I said, because of the belt satin on a lot of people's, ends up not being that smooth. Overall, it's just a really interesting design too, because of how they did the overlay G10 and the carbon fiber. Even though this is like a frame lock, they kind of did like a liner lock style knife. And then Mazwan, he finally got his clip perfected to where he wants it, where he does that kind of ball style still, but he makes it into a ramp. So seems like he's got it to where he wants now, where it works effectively, but it's not like awkward or anything. Doesn't feel yeah, it's not like that. Doesn't feel hard to get in and out of the pants, or like it's gonna rip it up or anything. But just disappointing on that end with the detent. But overall, beautifully, you know, aesthetically done, made knife. It's just, that's unfortunate. I wouldn't have been too upset, or I would have been more upset, I mean, if this had been a flipper. But since it's a reverse flicker, I'm not too upset, because it still flips pretty fine despite the issues with the detent. Still usable, still locks up nice and solid. So it's not like the knife is defective when it's open. Still works functionally fine. It's just, yeah, clunky. So pass up on this one for now until they work it out, and then I would say go for it after that. That's the TS344 by Mazwan Mohktar. Up next, we got one that you guys have been asking me for a little while now. I finally got it, and yeah, I don't know why I waited 70 knives to finally get it, or 72 some knives. This is the, I was like, what the hell is that? Scared me. This is a TS223 Monarch by Jelly Jerry, and yeah, just a beautifully done knife here. Wonderful. The way I look at this knife is, this is simple elegance at its finest. What Jelly Jerry does with titanium and carbon fiber, it's just another thing entirely. He does magic. The value you're getting here, I spent $125 on this knife. So worth it. M390. Beautiful grind lines. Nice, tall, full flat grind. So even though it's, 4mm thick stock, because of that tall flat grind, you're, yeah, it's coming down to a really nice thinness behind the edge. Sorry, I had to clean the blade real quick. This is just super slicey. This thing blows through cardboard so easily. When I went to go make my first cut on this knife through some plastic wrap, it pretty much jumped out of the way. Like, it surprised me. D10 angle, I would say normal to kind of getting late. Jelly Jerry's kind of known for doing that, but it'll hit your finger, the flipper tab, you'll get past it, and nice and smooth action. This thing normally drop shuts, but I did kind of tighten the pivot before doing the video, just to make sure it wasn't too loose. But still, really a smooth action. Beautifully done on the carbon fiber. They always do such great work on their carbon fiber. Can't say enough about the quality of it and the fit and finish. Everything is just so smooth, no gapping or anything. The transition's beautifully done. Corners are all nice and clean, for the price. It's not like Riot smooth and perfect, but for the price, it's great. It's all nice and clean. Everything fits up perfectly still. No gapping or anything, so definitely can't complain. And then with that faux bolster style, just really nicely done. You got this like stonewash type of finish on it. A little bit of that tumbled stone washing. Then your bolster lock. Nice clip. Simple clip, kind of similar to the TS228 Aurora clip. But works very effectively. Good ramp. I like how it's got that like arch, so makes it easy to clear. And yeah, just very effective. Got as much deep carry as you can pretty much get. Your bolster lock, and then yeah, beautifully centered. Nice detent on this one. The Axel lock bar is not like too much, but it's still easy to get. Would have been better if he had, kind of scalloped this area out a bit more. But still easy to actuate, easy to get to, deploy, and close. Just beautifully done overall. Backspacer. You can kind of touch the blade here. And then can't get the tip here. But I do like that open top construction. It's kind of a nice added design element too that gives this kind of older style design an updated modern look. So I think Jelly Jerry just did a really cool job here in the design. Got your detent ramp, and then the jimping here, flipper tab, just wonderfully done, nice and grippy. The flipper tab, just plain, triangle style, but works really good. Again, excellent detent. And that's the TS273 Monarch. Sorry about the noise in the background. I think somebody's lighting fireworks. Jesus. Last one up, guys, is the TS194 by Mazwan Mohktar. And I am absolutely in love with this knife right now. More than any of these on here. This thing is so freaking sweet. It's like a sports car on steroids. This thing it's fantastic. And the fact that it's an inset liner lock just makes it so much cooler. It's on double row ceramic bearings as well, which really surprised me. I should have known when I saw that pivot, but yeah, wasn't expecting it until I opened it and took it apart. But yeah, just the design aesthetic on this is killer. Mazwan, he he just, man, he knows what he's doing. I had seen this one on his Instagram. I had been waiting on it. Finally, when it came out, I was so psyched. They did this one in a Lightning Nano, but I just decided to go for this tumbled stonewash titanium version, the plain version. Kind of like this more. But yeah, just this milling here, really cool. Like the speed holes. I'm not normally a fan of speed holes, but the way it's done here with the milling, everything works out really well. This blade shape's just so sexy. It's got that like harpooned clip style. I don't even know. With the fuller, this thing is just so dope. And then your forward finger choil integrated. Something Mazwan does a lot that I absolutely love. Nice action on this one. It's got that drop shutty smoothness. Perfectly centered. Again, wonderful clip. It's got that ball style, but again with the ramp. So he's got it all worked out. This clip works great too. Good tensioning. And I like how it flows into the handle just seamlessly. All the lines from the milling are all symmetrical. Everything lines up perfectly. This flipper tab, again, wonderfully done. The jimping could have been a little bit better, but it's similar to the Monarch's flipper tab. You know, just a normal triangle. So it does work effectively. You got a little bit of a like concave ramp to it, so that also helps. But the D10 on this one is just fantastic. This thing, that was my fail. This thing deploys wonderfully. Very nice, strong D10. D10 angle, super early. Again, no ramp, but you pass it, you're good to go. And then that fuller here, I wish it was a little bit deeper, but can use it to reverse flick. Kind of a little hard to do around the camera, but yeah, can definitely use that as a second form of deployment, which is great. But like I mentioned, I wish it was a little bit more deeper to kind of get in there a little bit easier. Because of the stonewashing and the way this is not like got a sharp angled corner, you can kind of slip off, especially if your D10's a little too strong. So that is something to note, but still pretty easy to reverse flick regardless. Something I really like that he did here was make a reversible clip. You can actually left hand carry this, so that's great. And what I like is that even though it's got this little cutout for the clip, it doesn't look awkward or anything. It flows with the milling, so it looks like it's part of the design aesthetic anyways. It doesn't come off like you just have a cutout here and it's just a random hole, because I think sometimes that can look ugly if it doesn't have a filler tab. But on here, I think it works. But overall, just a fantastically sweet knife. Full back spacer, again, something Mazwan always does a lot. That works wonderfully. Since you don't have to worry about touching that blade. Can't touch the tip at all. Just excellent. And yeah, this is just a big boy too. But just fantastic. Ergos, comfortable. You can either squeeze in right here, nice and comfortable, or you can kind of sit back a little. You'll be back a little bit, not up against the flipper tab, but you won't feel any awkwardness. The thumb fits exactly where it needs to be. Or if you want, choke up using that forward finger tab, and that's the money right here. That's where you want to be. Everything lines up where it needs to be, and you're definitely good to go. Nice lock bar access. Absolutely love the fact that this is an inset liner lock. And I like the fact that Twosun's doing more of these. You know, this is getting to be a more popular style. So, yeah, it's something I like to see. You know, titanium frame with a steel lock bar insert is just really cool. Or a steel insert liner, whatever. Just really, really cool. But that's the TS174 by Mazwan Mohktar. Really, really happy to get this one. Love the fact that it's got the sterile blade in the front. Even though I know people don't like all the writing here. It is what it is though. But really would highly recommend getting this one. That's all I got for you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.